I don't know why we ever strayed away from this kind of stuff. Why the fuck do we have podcasts now? How is that the new meta? Watching people talk about whatever they want to over Call of Duty gameplay was fine by me. At least it gave us something to look at. I'm not saying it was the peak of content, but I don't know. We lost that art at some point. What's up, everybody? I figured it was a good time to do one of my annual check-in videos. I've had a lot going on behind the scenes recently, and it's looking like it will continue to only get more hectic in the second half of this year for me, so I figured it'd be a good time to do one of these, just shoot the shit for a while, talk about life, give some updates. Nothing bad, more exciting if anything, but stressful for sure. My wife and I have been preparing for a big life change. We're moving across the country. We're leaving the place that has been our home for the last 10 years, Long Beach, California, and relocating to the Metro Detroit area in Michigan. Why Michigan? That's what everybody asks me right away. And yeah, it's kind of a random state on the surface. We're really familiar with it by now, though. I've got an entire side of my family out there. We visit frequently, and it feels more like a place to start the next chapter than, say, I don't know, somewhere totally foreign to us like Wisconsin or Illinois. The Midwest does seem like a feasible place to settle down, though. House prices are really nice. There's a lot of space. It's a good place to start a family, experience a slower pace of life, maybe. We had a big talk after the wedding last year and concluded that there's no way we can afford to have a home in California, especially in the LA area. We want kids eventually, and when we talked about what we envisioned early on about what our perfect family and future looks like, it wasn't in some 2-bed, 1-bath shack kind of deal that had a concrete slab as a backyard and cost us $750,000. If we did find a way to make peace with that, the mortgage that we'd be paying would be insane. So we just had to get out of here. Northern California, where my mom is a lot better, but it's still California, I'd get a more relaxed vibe from it for sure, and it's nice to visit, but it's still not quite what we want. And God knows I'd rather die by a falling piano than try to make a life in the Central Valley or the Inland Empire. My point is we want a change of scenery, but maybe just some room to breathe. I want the kind of place that I can chase my kids around in one day. I want to go get a sandwich and not wait in a line of 20 people. Here in LA, you got to wait in line for everything. It's like Disneyland. The population density is nuts. There's way more people here than most places. You know about the traffic, but I mean, everybody knows that. But yeah, I think it's the things that people don't realize. Going to the grocery store feels like you're in a survival mode, fighting off hordes, kind of like me playing zombies right now. So yeah, we're ready to settle down. The weather is going to blow, but hey, I'm ready to see the seasons. My wife brought up a good point. Hey, maybe we'll finally see snow on Christmas. So yeah, I can finally maybe go sledding or build a snowman. The leaves are going to change in fall, too, which is going to be such a vibe. That's my favorite season. The cost of living is just going to be easier. We're paying almost $3,000 a month here for our apartment right now. We'd be paying half that for a nicer place out there. Reasonably sized houses are also somewhat achievable. I'm talking 3-4 beds. Everybody's talking about gas prices right now. For me, gas prices are climbing up to $7-8 out there. I can't imagine it's nearly as bad. Yeah, in late June, we're packing up all our stuff, getting our 2 cats in the car, and hauling ass across the country for a few days. It's going to halt some stuff on here. I can't lie. All creative endeavors have been much, much slower to develop in the last couple months for me, and it's going to only get harder to focus on that while we settle in over there. We have a place, luckily, but we don't have jobs yet. We're applying like crazy. But hey, if you've been in the job market recently, you know how excruciating it is. If anyone knows someone who's hiring and is paying a decent wage in Michigan, give me a holler. The time I'd usually use on working on content has been dedicated to filling out applications mindlessly. It's given me war flashbacks to the pandemic when I graduated college, honestly. I'm trying not to let those old feelings arise. We've also been selling a lot of furniture, handling a lot of final business, scheduling our last appointments and stuff, getting the logistics of this whole thing set up, making sure we're ready. I imagine that July and much of August will likely be an adjustment period. Just getting there is going to be a nightmare. I will definitely try to vlog the 3-day drive that we're making and hopefully churn out a cool video from it, especially if I like what I get, similar to the honeymoon video. I think that maybe could be worth doing a recap on, so look forward to that, possibly. I think it could be interesting to go on rambunctious Riley Fury Road, unless it's just really boring. I want to reassure you, though, my absence here has not been for a lack of motivation. I haven't been doing nothing. I've been quietly whittling away on really, really big projects instead of putting out small clusters of videos similar to last year. I feel bad, but also I kind of said this is what I was going to do. I was like, I'm going to focus on some big things this year and less about a bunch of little things. I want to call attention to the tentative release schedule I showed off last year during my previous video. Let's do that. Let's go one by one. Shitpost number 3, aka my Wanna Do City 2 video. Check. I got that out in December like I wanted. Really good, really funny. Not a lot of people saw it. I liked it. 2025 music list, December 2025 or January 2026. Also check. Got that out when I planned in January. 2023 music list, check as well. I dropped that in March. Caught up fully on the music list, so that felt good to do. Then the rest of the stuff, that's when it gets murky. We start to derail, probably because of the move. That's when it started taking effect. I didn't intend on having a big gap in between Lighthouse videos. I'm sorry. I can guarantee you that it will be out sometime this year. Part 2, maybe even Part 3 will be out this year. I want to give full attention to it at some point. When? Up in the air. Soon? Likely. That's actually what I just finished the script for right before recording this, so shouldn't take long. It's just the editing that can get tricky and tedious. So every Pixar movie ranked, first half 2026. I won't even front, guys. We're going to need to change that to TBD. It's not particularly important to me at the moment. It'll be fun when we get to it, but not right now. 2026 possibly, but more likely going to be a 2027 thing. And my last thing, my personal project with no existing IP attached whatsoever, and by far the hardest to build hype for, the visual novella. This has actually received most of my attention creatively in 2026, but I want to dive into that and the details of that a little further right now, because I understand it's kind of a mystery to those who aren't in close contact with me. First of all, it's grown way more than I anticipated. So much so to where I determined this would need to be a regular old book. It was supposed to be under 100 pages, and it got well over that. I quickly realized this would be a train wreck to film, so I went all in, ditched the visual aspect, and I'm just going to make it my debut novel. I'm going to publish it on Amazon, and it'll be out at some point, hopefully. With that kind of commitment, though, comes extra time. It went from being little bits and segments of short stories to one longish one. There needs to be a more fine attention to detail and emotional care than I expected with this, and I have hit some walls. I found my way around some walls. It's been methodical. It's been strenuous. It's been a process. I can see that taking the rest of the year to handle, because this is a deeply vital project to me now, and I don't want to drop it. I've put a lot of work into it already, but I also need to make sure it's what I want. So not only does that answer where I've been outside of the moving stuff, it also answers where I might be. If I have long, dry spurts on here where I'm not uploading as many videos, you know why now. Days I'd usually be editing are spent in front of that manuscript, just whittling away. I'm still maintaining the rule that I will do a review for anything I see in theaters. I put everything on pause when I see a movie I need to review. At the time of recording this, I'm thinking about going to check out that Backrooms movie, doing one for that, so look forward to that video. Anyways, yeah, I really wanted the novel that I'm working on to be a video or some kind of visual experience. I really did, but it has to be in print because of the sheer size of it, and now it's become something I can't practically work on while also doing big videos. So here's the new release schedule, all right? Let's do this. Lighthouse Part 2, at least Lighthouse Part 2. This year, preferably summer. Moving Across the Country vlog, same thing, this summer. Novel, late this year, maybe, or early 2027. Let's just put 2027. 2026 music list still going to be on schedule. I want to drop that when everyone else drops their list, December 2026. If I'm working on something, I'm pausing it and I'm working on that. Every Pixar movie ranked, like I was saying, TBD. All right? It seems much more manageable for me with everything going on in my life now, taken into account. I still plan on making some kind of abstract visual accompaniment for the novel. I have a lot of ideas that I want to do. Whether it be like a mood board or a visualizer, I don't know yet. That idea I'm still mulling over. There's at least going to be a trailer for it. I know that much. That will be on this YouTube channel for sure. The quest for the plaque will not cease, though. I know that doing this novel thing is not going to be what gets me subscribers, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I am going to set out like I have been and just kind of trusting my gut. Wherever my desire takes me, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find the thing that I'm most interested in and work on that. If I were to work on something that I was maybe only slightly interested in at the moment or didn't fascinate me as much, you would not get the best version of that out of me. And I don't want to put out anything that isn't the best version. So even in my perceived absence, I have been present on here, plotting, scheming, consulting the council, and conspiring with the powers that be to earn me my 100K subscriber YouTube plaque. I don't care if it takes 100,000 Call of Duty videos like this one. I will do it. You can take the guy out of LA, but you can't take the LA out of the guy. 10 years here has instilled a certain amount of hustle in me. I have been infected by the grind mindset. Even if it means making moves in silence, though, I'm gonna do it. The power of the internet is that anybody can be anybody from anywhere. I'm gonna build a community on here, man. I'm gonna do it. Just like how I always dreamed about as a kid. I think part of me was subconsciously pulled to the LA area because of the possibility. I was a budding creative, and the prospect of finding some connection or tie to the industry during my everyday life was something that I knew could be highly possible out here. I think it takes a special kind of person to create new opportunities. I've learned a lot from those type of people, but they're also so fucked in the head. And it made me realize, like, holy shit, I don't know if I'm as crazy about this as they are. You have to have a certain kind of obsession with making it big or becoming a big thing. It's got to be what you eat, sleep, and breathe. And I realized that wasn't me. One thing that comes from living out here is you see the uncomfortable, I guess, underbelly of the people who didn't make it or are actively still desperately trying to make it. And you think that would, like, inspire me, right? And maybe in college it did because I was around a lot of other like-minded people. But once you're actually out in the world, you know, networking, if that's what you want to call it, it kind of gave me a feeling of, I don't know, depression. Like I was saying, in college, it had this level of competition, this secondhand confidence, because if I could float an idea past somebody, they could give me one better, or I would see somebody doing something great and it would make me want to do something just like that. Everybody had their own voice and felt so unique, and you wanted to find yours. But now that I'm out of that, it's kind of just encountering one sadder situation after another. It made me go, well, shit, that's what I could look like in 30 years if I still don't have anything going for me. You know, it scared me. It didn't empower me. If a trophy of experience is the goal, like we've talked about before, you gotta have something to show, you know? It made me want to start thinking more realistically. Where was my place in all this as somebody who had ideas? Only until recently, probably when I started doing videos actively on this channel, did I say, hey man, keep doing your thing, keep going after your creative aspirations and goals and stuff, but also don't spend your whole life waiting on something when you could easily have a very humble, respectable lifestyle. Do me a favor and go check out Before the Law. It's a parable by Franz Kafka from The Trial. It's also responsible for my profile picture that you see on all social platforms. I think it's all encompassing. I think it's a lot about what will we wait for, because that's what life is. It's a lot of waiting. But life is also a realm that teases promise, and nothing in life is promised except death. And if we all know we're going to die, then what do we do with the time we have until then. You start to feel like it's a tragedy when you look at people who are at the end of their life and put all their eggs in one basket. Check the description right now. I'll drop the link to it. There's a lot of similarities to The Lighthouse, and that's part of what makes me connect to that movie so much. And I'll talk more about what this parable means in relation to The Lighthouse, but the reason I bring it up is because you can spend your entire life waiting for that moment to happen, whatever it is that you think will complete you or give you true bliss or satisfaction or the answer to all your problems, and your life is over. It's gone. And we've seen that in a lot of other big pieces of media. Whiplash, another great example. This dude goes all in on being a drummer, and with that comes sacrificing a regular life. What I'm saying is that the people you meet in LA, that's kind of all who they are. They're all in, and they're okay with that. They're okay with waiting at the door for as long as it takes, hoping someone answers. They're okay with not being most people. Most people are trying to reach someone on customer service, right? They get put on hold. They'll wait for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then they'll just hang up and try again another time. These are the type of people who would be on the phone on hold for 10 hours if that's what it takes to get a representative, you know? You have to be like that out here to become somebody. And me, I think I was willing to become that person until I met my wife. And then I was like, holy shit, I love somebody loves me. Who gets this opportunity? There are billionaires who haven't gotten this opportunity. Arguably because they're fucking billionaires. The only reason you should be focused on making money with art is because that right now is the only way to pay bills with art. It should not be that way, but that's a whole different discussion. I want to be successful as a creative, as an artist, as an author, as whatever, so bad. It might be the only thing I want truly in the world, but what I want more is to not be alone. And I feel like if my whole purpose in life is making things, then the best thing I could make, the thing that I've always wanted to make, is just a life for myself. You know, in a way, meeting my wife was kind of the best thing that could have happened to me, because I feel like if that didn't happen, I would have gone down the pipeline of being that person that I was describing before. Because for a while, I didn't think I was capable of being loved by a stranger. I didn't think that I was even deserving of love. Somebody who might not have the best opportunity to create a life for themselves that at the end of it they could be proud of. Now I'm kind of in this weird 50-50 state of like being the creative hustler who I was just describing and being somebody who wants a very quiet, normal life. But hey, you know, that's me. I made an entire film about this, about living in the in-between and never in one reality or the other. I tend to complicate fucking everything. I would argue that's most of life for everybody. I can't lie. Like, I can't pretend like that's just my experience and my experience alone. That's just what I feel like I battle with the most. My question to you today would be, do you think going all in on one thing is the best way to approach life, or do you think it's good to spread out yourself and be balanced? The balance means a lot of things are just okay or pretty good instead of one or two really great, awesome things. But I feel like I've been this SpongeBob meme my entire life, man. Like from the very inception of my being, that's just how it's been. I'll give you an example. I don't know how my parents were ever together. The version I saw of them were complete opposite people. My mother, absolute pessimist. She is dead set that she's a realist, and that's maybe true. You know, she was the one telling me all about crazy shit that was happening around the world when I was like 3 or 4 years old. When I wanted to do something that was a little ambitious, my mom would always give me the realistic output of it, like, hey, that's probably not going to work out, man. And then my father was a optimist, probably too much for his own good. You know, he believed that you could do anything and that you were capable of doing almost impossible tasks, but living life like him where nirvana was just one rash decision away is not the way to do it. And living life like my mother, where absolute hell is just one rash decision away, is also not a way to live life. So I'm stuck here with these two completely opposite perspectives, and that's just been my life. So you've got this guy who will go balls to the wall just to be a successful, talented, recognized artist who makes a living off of making great work, and this guy who also wants to live a quiet, normal life, like a family man who's not really focused on notoriety or fame or anything like that. What I'm telling you right now, though, is I'm lucky enough to live in a time where it is possible to do both. We have the fucking internet. This is the greatest thing that I ever discovered. Going back to what I was talking about, where you do have the opportunity to wait, truly, if that's what you want to do, for that big moment. The funny part is, that shit's not even promised. You might wait for no reason and you missed out on your life. That's kind of why I made Tales from the Exit Door. I said, hey, shit, if this really is my last hurrah, my last thing that I do as a creative person, it's me announcing that I'm not going to wait at the door anymore for the idea that I could maybe possibly become something. I'm going to go live my life. I'm going to choose reality. I met a kid, I won't name names. He moved out here from far away and gave up his whole life to be a content creator. Ended relationships, lived in his car, hustled 24/7, posted on TikTok and Instagram numerous times a day. You don't know who that kid is. No matter how hard he envisioned that moment that he would become the celebrity that he wanted to be, the influencer, the person with recognition, I can promise you, don't know who that kid is. I think I ever only saw him release like one thing, and that one thing was pretty good. But the rest of his time was spent on trying to promote that one thing. Me personally, I feel like our time on this planet is limited. I gotta make as much shit while I'm here as possible. I don't have time to be promoting my bullshit, especially if it's not even good. I think it's good because I'm me, but there's a very high likelihood that the random person who stumbles across it is going to say, oh, well, that was pretty mediocre, and move on with their lives. One of the tough realities is that we live in a world where everybody believes that they're the main character. That's apparent now, so more than ever. I feel like social media has only amplified that feeling. Again, I just mentioned how I think everything I do is great and undiscovered, and I'm like some untapped market, some gem, some diamond in the rough that hasn't been noticed yet. I'm guilty of that as much as anybody else. The truth is, I'm very likely just as mediocre as everybody else who makes things, and I think there's no point in waiting around to be special. I think you should just go live your life and enjoy it and find out what you love, find out the people you love, spend time with them, and do the things that bring you happiness. You might as well have fun. But one thing we should not pretend is like we're not the main character. There's no way to escape our perspective. Sure, that's terrifying, but that kind of main character syndrome energy is what gives you the courage to even put yourself out there a lot of the time. And maybe it's fun to gamble like that. Maybe it's fun to gamble embarrassment because it also risks the possibility of pure devastation. I don't know if it's delusion that avoids that or what, but not everybody gets to climb the mountain. And the ones that don't, you don't really see. There's a lot of people who came out here for an opportunity and never, ever really capitalized on it. I've met a lot of them. You're going to meet more of those people than you think. And it's not that being successful is a crapshoot. Some people hustled their asses off and they worked really hard and they got into great positions because of it. And that's it. But there is a certain amount of luck. And I talked about that in my last video where talent isn't necessarily what makes somebody successful anymore. But yeah, my point in saying that is sometimes YouTube is like that. You don't see the people making content every single day who are getting 10 views. And a lot of those people are posting for 5-10 years and not ever really making it. You just kind of have to hope that they do. I've seen some formula being all in on something. Like, I'm going to become the expert channel in this. I just discovered a Pikmin YouTube channel that is doing actually pretty well for a Pikmin YouTube channel. It's called like I'm only here for Pikmin or something. All they make is Pikmin content. And that's awesome. Like, they're all in on that. I want to find out if I can make it without being one of those. I've said before on here that I've never really felt like I've been great at anything because I've always tried to do everything. When I got to pick two things to do, I always try to do both. I'm going to try to become great at doing both. It sounds really hard, but I think I was built for this. Isn't it funny? We always end up coming to the conclusion at the end of this that let's just let it ride. Trust my gut, do what's fun, focus on fun, and be authentic. One of the best quotes ever, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. What do we do now? I don't know. Enjoy it. So if you're still here, I don't want you to subscribe to my channel for just movie reviews or just my music reviews or fucking shower reviews. I want you to be here for me. I want to be your friend. I want you to feel like I'm your friend. Like, you can hang out with me on here and we can talk about the deepest depths and most challenging art that there is, or the dumbest nonsense you can imagine, like cereal. We can argue about takes. You can get your ass down there in the comments and be like, you're a fucking idiot, and I'm down for it. We can also bond over shared experiences. That's just as cool to me. Anything in between is also fine. You're on the council with me, bro. Just by watching this video, you're on the council. You made it this far, right? Like, you got to get rewarded for something. I'm rewarding you with a seat at the council. That's the whole reason I'm making this 32 view video, because someone made it this far and became a council member in the WTF Riley cohort. All right? They say good things come to those who wait, but if you've been devoting much of your life to waiting, maybe it's time to walk away. Maybe it's time to go live life. You feel like you've waited long enough, if you feel like your entire being hinges on whatever it is that you're waiting for, then fuck that thing. Don't let it run you. Do the other thing you want to do. And if you don't know what it is, figure that out. As long as that decision doesn't impact anybody else but you, don't fucking leave your wife and kids or hurt anybody. I'm more talking about general stuff like your hopes and dreams or a relationship that you really want to make work, But if you got responsibilities, stick to that as well. But you know that. You're a smart person. So, thanks for hanging out today. By the way, if you've been invested whatsoever in the gameplay on screen, this is me finding all of the stupid targets that triggered the reward of getting all the perks on the map and then subsequently ending the game. It felt wrong to not include. I busted my ass finding those little shits in this footage. I very much look forward to talking soon, okay? Let's operate quietly together and reconvene when the time is right. So, bye for now.